Not very surprising today, Oxford fans, unfortunately. I think the only thing I was thankful for was the fact that West Brom didn't get more goals. Hello everybody and welcome back to OUFC Fan View. It's Ian here once again and it's time for another review of another Oxford United game. Today the U's were on the road. They were away at West Bromwich Albion. It's been a bit poor in recent weeks, hasn't it, United fans? Wins have dried up, goals have certainly dried up, and it's all just gone a little bit stagnant. And after the defeat last weekend to Portsmouth, we were hoping for some change, something that was going to give us a little bit of spark, give us a little bit of attacking spark and make us look a bit more threatening. But this was always going to be a difficult task. West Brom are pushing for the playoffs, and let's just cut to the chase, they are a better side than Oxford United. So it was never going to be easy to go to the Hawthorns and expect Oxford to put on an attacking masterclass, and quite the opposite. In fact, we didn't get anywhere near the West Brom goal. I don't think we had a shot on target in the game, and it all ended quite predictably, as I said in the intro. West Brom, comfortable winners. Congratulations, West Brom and your fans. This one ended West Bromwich Albion 2. Oxford United 0. And we'll go over everything like I usually do in these videos. I'll go over the team news, I'll give my review of the game, and then I'll give my final thoughts for both sides at the end of the video. I always encourage you to watch the whole video, but if you do want to jump to the end and just see the final thoughts, that's absolutely fine. Use those timestamps that are down below, but either way, please hit that like button because that does help me out a lot. And if you do like the content, and consider subscribing. So let's have a look at the Oxford United team news then. And the Oxford United fans wanted changes from Gary Rowett, and we got changes. There were 5 of them, in fact. There were some that we wanted, some that we expected, and there are some, I'm sure, that many of you were not happy with. I'll let you figure those out for yourselves. But Joe Bennett is back in the United first team for the first time in months because of injury. He's in for the injured Greg Lee. It's very good to see Joe Bennett back, and him along with Alex Matos, Tyler Goodrum, Matty Phillips and Ole Romani come into the side. Mark Harris, Shariki Dembele, Will Vaux and Ruben Rodriguez are relegated to the bench. And I think we were all just hoping that this lineup was going to give Oxford a bit of attacking spark. Let's have a look at the home side then, and Tony Mowbray's Baggies started the day just outside the playoffs in 7th place. I think they may have gone back into the playoffs with that win. I haven't actually checked the league table, but it's been a strange year for West Brom really. Carlos Corberán had a very solid and well-organised outfit whilst he was in charge, but they drew far too many games. But since he's flown off to Valencia, Tony Mowbray's bought certainly a more entertaining brand of football, but West Brom have all of a sudden become quite inconsistent. But it is an attacking lineup for WBA though, as they have Fellows, Johnston, Price and ex-Oxford's Alex Mowatt. They come in for Wallace, Dinjana, Lancashire and Diakite. I think that's how you say it. Goal scorer at the Kassam Stadium, Caelan Grant is missing through illness, but it is still a very good West Brom lineup. So let's have a look at this game then, and the first thing we've got to talk about is West Brom taking the lead. It was a pretty simple move to slice Oxford open on 11 minutes, but you have to say the Baggies were on top. They'd already had a few corners and some pressure, but it was a well-executed move nonetheless. Malumbi passed the ball into Price in midfield, who made a good run to get into space. He then played a through ball to Mowatt, who got in behind Bennett, and then it was just a very simple finish from close range from Mowatt. Again, nicely worked from West Brom. Looked a bit far too easy from Oxford's point of view, I have to say. Alex Mowatt certainly did enjoy celebrating in front of the Oxford fans. And Oxford were very ragged here for the large majority of this first half. West Brom was sensing blood in the water. 15 minutes, Armstrong got a decent sight of goal from outside the area, but he blazed it over the bar. Oxford just could not get out of their own half, and it was one-way traffic, seemingly, for a long time. You couldn't help but sense Oxford are in a lot of trouble. 25 minutes on the clock, and the fact that Oxford were able to get their foot on the ball and pass it around for a couple of minutes was a welcome relief. That kind of showed you how much under the cosh we were. But West Brom were just looking so much sharper than United all over the pitch, and Oxford were struggling to deal with the West Brom press. Hellick brought down Price outside the area. It presented a chance for West Brom, but it was a long way out, about 35 yards out, and United just about dealt with it, and they had to continue to soak up pressure. 31 minutes on the clock, and another West Brom chance goes over the bar. There were just a couple of very fleeting opportunities for Oxford on the break, a couple of times where Plaheta got some space, but again, the decision making just was not clinical enough. And as the game approached half-time, you did feel that Oxford were just taking the sting out of the West Brom momentum a little bit, and the game did settle down. But there was another chance for West Brom on 43 minutes. This time it kind of came a bit out of the blue. It was a long ball forward. Hellick won the header, but it wasn't a great header by Hellick. He just kind of headed it back into the middle of the area. It was outside the box, but it presented a chance for Armstrong to arrive onto the ball, volley it towards goal, and it forced Cumming into a decent save to push it behind. And West Brom piled on the pressure after that moment up until half-time. They really wanted that second goal and pushed for it before the break. And again, they had plenty of possession, plenty of free kicks, plenty of corners, plenty of opportunities to get balls into the box. But Oxford just about dealt with the danger. So we got to half-time and it was 1-0 to West Brom, and it was very much deserved. Oxford have struggled to deal with the movement and the pressing of the Baggies, and it's been all they can do really to just try and stay in this game. As I said earlier, there have been some opportunities for Oxford to hit West Brom on the break, but the quality has just not been there. But I do think Ollie Romani's looked okay up front. His hold-up play and his certainly the ability to spin in behind has looked better than what we've seen from Harris in recent weeks. But 0 shots at all from Oxford shows you how they are very much lucky to still be in this game at half-time. Probably West Brom maybe didn't create enough shooting chances for the opportunities that they had and for the pressure they put Oxford under. And Oxford just about still in it. Just about. But we are still in it. And boy, oh boy, did Oxford start the second half on fire. 2 minutes on the clock. No, it's not a goal, but at least we've had a shot. My goodness, it is getting pretty desperate, isn't it? But Plaheta had a couple of runs in the early stages of the second half down that right wing. He cut inside with the second run and blazed it over the bar. But that looked encouraging, but then West Brom went straight up the other end and created a good opportunity from their first attack. A good cross from Styles created a chance for Armstrong, but he somehow missed his kick, and it did look like it was a pretty good opportunity, and Oxford once again breathing a huge sigh of relief. The chances did keep coming for West Brom as Kioso was booked just a minute after that chance for Armstrong, and it gave West Brom an opportunity right on the edge of the box. It was about 25 yards out, and Armstrong trying to make amends for that chance he just missed, but he put it over the bar. West Brom still very much on top of this game, and Oxford still struggling to get anywhere near the West Brom goal. And 62 minutes of fantastic run by Johnston, who I thought had a good second half. Runs right across the edge of the box. Oxford couldn't get near him, but he just kept trying to work that shooting chance. Eventually it came, but he hit it over the bar. Oxford needed changes, and hopefully those changes might give us something in this game. Mills and Volts came on for Matos and Phillips. One thing Oxford could hang their hat on was the fact that it was still 1-0 and they might get a chance somewhere down the line. And on 69 minutes, West Brom nearly sealed it. It is still all West Brom at this stage, I've got to say. Alex Mowatt giving far too much time in the middle of the park. He's about 30 yards out, but he gets the ball out of his feet and drives it towards the top corner. It's an excellent shot, and I'd say it might have beaten most goalkeepers, but Jamie Cumming is not most goalkeepers, and he makes a superb save to tip it over the bar. And then from that corner, Mason Holgate seemed to get a pretty much free header, only about 8 yards out, might have even been closer, but managed to head it over the bar. It was another good chance for West Brom that went begging. 74 minutes on the clock, and another change for Oxford saw Dembele come on for Plaheta. And on 82 minutes, this is maybe Oxford's only chance of getting back into the game. And again, that shows you how kind of desperate we are in front of goal at the moment. But a rare chance for Oxford to throw a ball into the box from a free kick. Cleared the first ball by West Brom, that came out to Brannigan on the edge of the box, and he screamed, as all the Oxford fans and all the Oxford players did, for a penalty, as his bobbly shot seemed to maybe come off an outstretched West Brom hand. The referee had a good view on it, didn't give the penalty. Oxford still have not had a penalty this season. Brannigan got booked, protesting the decision. But again, I have to say, a penalty looked about the only way Oxford were going to score a goal in this game, because West Brom came forward again, and another excellent move from the Baggies on 86 minutes, an incisive ball in behind and a ball across the box, which once again somehow just evaded everybody, and Oxford were able to get the ball cleared. Now, for the second week in a row, this happened against Portsmouth. There was a medical emergency in the crowd. It happened very late, and it happened just after that chance I just talked about. And the game did come to a halt, but it didn't come to a halt for as long as the game did against Portsmouth. I think we only stopped for about 5 or 6 minutes. And so I'm going to assume whoever had the emergency is okay. I don't know if anyone can give an update. That would be great. I'm sure we'll get another interesting debate on that in the comments. So we entered into 9 minutes of added on time, and for the most of it, Oxford once again just couldn't get anywhere near the West Brom goal. But there was a late little flurry. Will Vaults with a couple of long throws into the box and a corner as well right at the end, and Jamie Cumming came up for the corner. Would it be a grandstand finish? Well, it did result in a goal, but it resulted in the second goal for West Brom. 101 minutes on the clock, and Oxford, as I say, with coming up in the West Brom penalty area. West Brom cleared the ball, broke away, and Swift was able to score the easiest goal he's ever going to score into his career as he rolled it into the empty net. Nothing more than what West Bromwich Albion deserved. 2-0, probably waited a lot longer for that second goal than they would have liked, but did eventually come. Thoroughly deserved. No complaints from me. Let's move on to those final thoughts. And let's start with the home side in West Bromwich Albion. And first of all, congrats West Brom fans. As I say, you probably won't have... Well, you probably have a couple of easy wins this season at home, but this has probably got to be amongst the easiest of wins that you've had, which is annoying for me to say. And I know I do have some West Brom fans that do follow my predictions, so I'll be interested to know your thoughts on this one. First of all, I've got to say, I thought Tony Mowbray, the decision he made and the changes he made worked really well. Alex Mowatt obviously getting the first goal, generally having a great game. Price, I thought, looked good. Johnston, I thought, looked good as well. So you have to say Mowbray did well with those changes that he made to the side following that draw against Millwall. And I thought generally West Brom were in complete control of this game. The movement of the midfielders is what impressed me the most. The likes of Malobi and Price and Mowatt, and particularly Mowatt, who seemed to just dictate the pace of this game. But you just were able to pass through Oxford. If we sat off, you were able to pick your way through. If we pressed, you were able to even easier pick your way through Oxford as well. And when you were out of possession, I thought that Oxford really struggled to get up the pitch, and a lot of that came down to how well West Brom pressed, and then when Oxford did go long, the defence dealt with it pretty easily. Second half, I thought Johnson came into his own. He looked a lot more lively in that second half and very dangerous. I'd say the only negatives would just be that you were quite wasteful when you did get, like at the Kassam as well, when you did get into good positions, quite often it was a poor pass or a poor cross, or when it was a good cross, it was a poor finish, and I think that's something that will probably annoy Mowbray when he looks back, as this game should have been really largely out of sight, and you nearly, obviously Oxford didn't get near to a goal, but you left that door open for a possibility of Oxford maybe getting an undeserved equaliser, a bit like what we did at the Kassam, but it wasn't to be, and all in all a very comfortable win for you Baggies. I would just say, how do you feel about your chances of getting into the playoffs? It's been a very up and down, weird season, as I talked about at the start, and it just seems to be about trying to iron out consistencies now. It seems to be that you're on a little, you rarely seem to put back-to-back wins on the board, but now's the time to do it, isn't it? Now's the time. Now we've reached the business end of the season. Now's that time to put those wins on the board and cement your place in the playoffs. But can you do it? And what does Mowbray need to do to improve things to make you more consistent? Interesting to know your thoughts. Good luck for the rest of the season. Who knows? Maybe we'll be in the same league next season. Or maybe you'll get promoted. Or maybe we'll go down. Who knows? But either way, good luck. And Interested to know your thoughts. And that brings me on to Oxford United. And once again, you have to straight away just say how bereft we looked going forward, how poor we looked going forward, and how we really, for the whole game, didn't lay a glove on the West Brom defence. Sometimes I'm critical when I say Oxford had a week to work on it, and this is what we came up with. But West Brom are a good side, and you do have to remember that. The West Brom are a good side, and they are a better side than Oxford United. And for most times that we play against these sides, they probably are going to dominate the lion's share of possession. But I thought Oxford were ragged. That early goal really rocked them, and it took a long time for players to get any confidence in this game. I thought in the first half, maybe a couple of times in the second half, there were opportunities on the break, but the decision making with the balls forward, or if Placheta did get on it, his decision making was once again pretty poor. The decision to play Matt Phillips, it didn't work. It didn't work, did it? He was poor again. He didn't really offer anything. And he can't beat a man going forward. He's not particularly good at defending. He doesn't really offer any hold-up play. Why was he in this starting 11 above Dembele? You could have played Goodrum on that left-hand side, and you could have played Rodriguez. You could have done a lot of other decisions other than playing Matty Phillips. And it was interesting that when he got subbed off, that the West Brom fans were the ones clapping him off, and the Oxford fans certainly weren't. But we don't have to harp on about Phillips. I don't think any of us are particularly happy with his contribution this season, and I'm surprised that he keeps getting opportunities. I'm surprised that Gary Rowett went for Alex Matos in the midfield. I thought he really struggled in there today. It's harsh on the young man. I think he's got a lot of potential, but he hasn't kicked on in the game since I thought he was quite impressive against Burnley. But again, it's harsh to criticise him too much. They certainly put the effort in. It just wasn't quite. I just thought he struggled a little bit in the game today, and I thought Will Vaulks probably was a better shout to start the game in midfield alongside Brannigan. You know, in hindsight, it's a wonderful thing. It was good to see Joe Bennett back. I thought Joe Bennett was solid as always. I thought maybe he was a bit caught cold for the goal, with Mowatt making a good run in behind him. Probably wasn't just his fault though, but other than that, I thought he was really solid and really good, like he hadn't been away. But it did look like he went off injured at the end of this game, and judging by Bennett's reaction, it looked like he has had some sort of muscular injury. So he's going to be out again. So that's him out and Lee out. What are we going to do? Is it going to be Brown moving into that left-back position and Long playing it centre-back alongside Hellick? Or is it a time now to move to 3 at the back? Interested to know what you thought of Romani today up front. I hope he gets a run in the side. I'd really hope that, he didn't have a chance today. He didn't score a goal today, and Oxford didn't look good going forward today. But I thought he looked okay. I thought that he was trying to spin in behind. I thought his running off the ball was pretty good. And I thought his hold-up play was generally better than what we've seen from Bradshaw or Harris in recent weeks. And I'd like to see Romani get a little run in the side now. I hope that he doesn't just go back to Harris and then keep switching between the two of them. I'd like to see Romani get a little run, which we never really did for Dane Scarlett. I hope that we do that for Ole Romani, and because I thought he was all right today. And I'd like to see what he can do in a game where Oxford somehow do start to create some more opportunities. But we have to come back to the biggest thing, is where are Oxford going to score goals? Because it doesn't look likely that this is going to change anytime soon. Next weekend is Coventry, and it's a Coventry side who are in very good form, and you imagine are going to come to the Kassam and play in a very similar way to what we saw West Brom do, which means Oxford are going to have to do a lot of defending and relying on hitting on the counter-attack. And if it's like the counter-attack today, it isn't going to be a game where we create too many chances. It's so evident to me, the quality between the two sides is the fact that West Brom players are so much more comfortable on the ball than Oxford, and even if we press them or even if we don't, they're able to pick their way through. But the Oxford players, when they're not pressed, the movement's not good enough to find a way through, and then when they are pressed, they're panicky, and too often they have to end up going back, and then it's a long ball forward and we give the ball back to West Brom. So we just need more quality on the ball. We need more composure on the ball. We need to try and find a way to pass the ball through the thirds rather than just whacking a ball down the line for Placheta or Mills to run onto and then nobody else is able to keep up with them, and he's crossing into a penalty area with no one up there. So we need to find a way to try to, as a team, get the ball up the field so we've actually got some players in the box when we do get into attacking areas. And we're really, really struggling on that front at the moment. And I really don't know what we can do to change that around. On the positive side, though, results elsewhere did seem to go Oxford's way. We don't know how Luton got on against Watford, but the Plymouth only getting a draw and Derby losing late to Millwall means the gap is going to be, could go down to 7 if Millwall win on Monday, but at the moment it stands at 8, which is still relatively comfortable. This was always going to be a tough game, so it's not surprising that we lost, but once again, the way you lose means a lot, doesn't it? And this is another one of those losses that just highlights the lack of quality in this Oxford United lineup and the lack of quality we have going up against the better sides in the league, which worries me when you look at the fixture list. But we'll go again next week against Coventry, and who knows? Maybe we might be able to eke out a win. Maybe we'll get some revenge after that heartbreaking loss earlier on in the season. But leave your comments down below. Again, I'm not as annoyed about this game as I was about the Pompey one because I kind of didn't expect much from it anyway. So leave your comments down below. And thank you, as always, for supporting this channel. I'll be back very soon for more predictions and a review of the Oxford versus Coventry game next weekend. Thanks for watching. I'll be back very soon.